Let's get to the World Economic Forum, baby. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, surrounded by the super rich, Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin agree that they won't end the filibuster. Then they high five. Both have used their position to hurt the working people and the planet and make their rich friends richer.
The American people in the last 2 years.
And we still don't agree on getting rid of the filibuster.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Like the anger, frustration, and hatred that people have towards the World Economic Forum is so valid. I love it. I hate these Davos meetings and shit, but understand that it's larger than that. Okay, the problem is like you are upholding the same exact system. Like the notion that these are like conspiracy theories is a silly one because like it is a manifestation of the same things that you see in every aspect of your lives. Okay, it's not like Jewish people or some shit though. It's just the mega wealthy. It is the wealthy. It is the powerful. It is the capital owners working at the behest of extending the capitalist organization of the economy globally over and over again every year. When some of the world's wealthiest and most influential figures gathered at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting last year, sessions on climate change drew high-level discussions on topics such as carbon financing and sustainable food system. I hate that like they only hyper-focus on like the side of the World Economic Forum and the conversations that they have that surround marketing for the liberals, okay? Because like whenever they talk about like carbon credits and stuff or climate change, they're not talking about it because they're going to genuinely undermine the interests of capital at the global scale. They're never going to do that. They're just doing that for marketing, okay? They're doing that for marketing so that liberals also think that like, oh, the World Economic Forum, like they got some good ideas, I think. It's hard to tell people that so many dumbass conspiracists out there see the WEF and tweak out, but straight up shill for Wall Street and the economy on the regular because they're so out of touch. They can't see the smoke in the mirrors. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand how you can be mad at the World Economic Forum and not realize that like these are the exact same systems that you're holding on to when you're watching like fucking Sigma Grindset videos. Like those guys, every single one of these people, they're pushing the same shit. They're all together on it.
So the last time they met in the winter was 2020 on the brink of that global pandemic. And since then, obviously, events have changed the world, and I think that has repercussions for the forum's agenda. There are fewer political figures this year. The German Chancellor is here, but of the major political figures, he's kind of alone, along with the Vice Premier of China.
One of the funniest parts about these conversations is that they openly talk about how things are heating up to a degree where like the poor people everywhere all around the world are going to probably come up and rise up eventually. So we got to do something about it. And they very openly talk about it too. Like it's not even hidden. They openly talk about that shit. And all these dummies who are like so hype on like Elon Musk and all these other fucking dumbass bourgeois pieces of shit, okay, that dick ride them all the goddamn time, can't differentiate between the concept of like hating individuals like, Klaus Schwab or whatever the fuck, and the entire system that they are genuinely and very openly talking about at events like this. The richest 1% of people amass almost 2/3 of new wealth created in the last 2 years, according to Oxfam. Who the fuck do you think they're talking about at Davos? Who's going to Davos? It's all the rich people, dumbasses. It's not like individual bad rich people versus like some good people. Some good rich people. It's all of them. And it's not even like rich people in general. It's capital owners. The World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos begins tomorrow. A jamboree of politicians, corporate leaders, and billionaires arriving by private jet and motorcade to tell us plebs how to save the planet while they design ways to asset strip the planet. What's a capital owner versus a rich person? A capital owner is one who doesn't have to like actually fucking work. They are the people who sit around and don't have to do anything. Their money is working for them. They don't have a skill. They don't have a discernible skill. They just have money. And their money is accumulating more money. They buy assets. They're not making their income through wage labor by working for someone else. These are the real parasites, the real mega wealthy on the planet. Yeah. LeBron versus the owner of the Lakers, even though, controversial figure, probably not the best person to mention here. And also, LeBron owns capital himself. But as a basketball player, LeBron James is a wage laborer, ultimately, okay? He's contracted. His skills are what make the team that he's playing generate money, but they take risk. Yeah, dude, you take risk too, dummy. Everyone takes risks. When you go and work for a place, you are taking risk. Two sides to that conversation. The greatest risk that a business owner has is losing their money and becoming a worker like you. Never forget that, because when you lose your business or when you lose all the money, you don't go to prison. They don't kill you. You just become a worker. That's the biggest fear that a capital owner has, is being relegated to the working class, going back to becoming a worker. That is the biggest risk that they're taking. So you as a worker literally look at that situation and go, oh, my lord, but they're taking risks, my lord. He deserves the profits of my labor. I myself am not taking a risk. Well, no, you are. Because when that business goes under, you lose your job too. Your starting position as a worker at that business is already literally the end point that those capital owners, your bosses, are afraid of becoming. That is their biggest fear. So never forget that. And they very openly talk about it too, because they don't care, because a lot of dummies will look to the World Economic Forum and like not realize that this is just yet another iteration of class solidarity. It's yet another open demonstration of class solidarity amongst the capital owning class as they talk about what to do with your future, because they know you're going to hyper focus on the fucking climate change initiatives that they're advocating for. They know you're going to focus on all the dumb shit and not the actual shit.
A little bit more skepticism, I would say, of the event, certainly from the political figures. At the same time, Wall Street and the big banking CEOs are all here. There's a lot of billionaires on the ground or on the guest list. So there's some sense that some things haven't changed.
This isn't a conspiracy play that's playing out in the extreme fringes, Alex Friedfeld said. A researcher with the Anti-Defamation League who studies anti-government extremism. We're seeing it on the mainstream social media platforms being shared by regular Americans. We're seeing it being spread by mainstream figures right on their primetime news on their nightly networks. This is pretty funny because, like, there is truth to a lot of what they are talking about. What a lot of these people are like, the energy is right. Being angry at rich people is perfectly valid, okay? Being angry at these people who are like talking about what the next step should be for all the plebs and the peasants, as the wealthy are fearful that they're grabbing their fucking pitchforks, you know what I mean? But the issue is, there is all the fucking dumbasses are talking about it from the perspective of, like, you know, dumb shit. Like, oh man, they're going to do climate change initiatives and they're going to stop me from eating burgers. Meanwhile, like, they're not doing anything that's going to hurt the bottom line of the agriculture business, okay? No, it is the rich that make this right-wing conspiracy go mainstream, so the real leftist criticism is not shown in the media. Yeah, I mean, this is such a cool way to just like avoid talking about the real problem with wealthy people having all this access, having all this power, because then, hey, it's all a conspiracy. It's all fucking random weirdos saying like, oh, it's the Jews controlling the world, right? Or it's like just a couple bad liberal billionaires that are doing that. This isn't a conspiracy that's playing out on the extreme fringes. The meeting draws heads of state, business executives, cultural trendsetters, and representatives from international organizations to the huge Lux mountain town. Though it's always unclear how much concrete action will emerge, the meeting is slated to take on pressing global issues from climate change and economic uncertainty to geopolitical instability and public health. The Great Reset. Hundreds of public sessions are planned, but the 4-day conference is also known for secretive backroom meetings and deal-making by business leaders. This gap between what is shown to the public and what happens behind closed doors makes the meeting a flashpoint for misinformation. Theories about influential global leaders are not new, she said, but the scrutiny of the forum and its chairman Klaus Schwab intensified in 2020 in the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. That year, the theme of the annual meeting was the Great Reset. The initiative envisioned sweeping changes of how societies and economies would work to recover from the pandemic and build a more sustainable future. Now, in increasingly mainstream corners of the internet and on conservative talk shows, the Great Reset has become shorthand for what skeptics say is a reorganization of society, using global uncertainty as a guise to take away rights. Believers argue, like, you have no rights, idiot. You don't have any rights. You have no future prospect. You have no rights. They already took it away. You don't have anything. You don't have a future. You don't have any control over your life. You have no autonomy. You are alienated. You are isolated. You're living in it now. They're just basically talking on autopilot on how to sustain that, how to keep that going. That's the problem that they're doing in front of you, but you're so fucking stupid that you think it's like, oh man, they're gonna vaccinate us, and that's the wrong thing. No, you're cattle. We vaccinate our cattle so we can consume them. Just like we vaccinate our labor force so you can be healthy and fucking go back to work. But it's not the vaccination that's the problem in that circumstance, okay? It's how you are being used as a laborer, stupid. But of course, all these dumb idiots, they recognize that, like, man, this shit's fucked up. And I think rich people are kind of at fault here. But then they turn around and go, oh, it's the vaccines that they give us that's the issue. What's up, Felix?
We're in the same fucking thing.
It's okay. It happens, you know? We were just talking about, you know, Davos, World Economic Forum. Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are there.
Yeah. They got a standing ovation for saying that they're not going to end the judicial filibuster.
Yeah.
Or the filibuster in general.
Yeah, it's great.
Davos sucks. Davos sucks. It's always like been evil and bad. And like they usually like it's evil and bad for like direct reasons they tell you, right? Like every year it's just like a new rebranded austerity. It's like we want people to retire later. We want to privatize more pension funds. But now that the average person knows what it is, people make like all these photoshops where it's like, oh, you won't believe what they said at Davos, and it will be like Klaus Schwab being it'll be a picture of him in a fake headline that's like, actually everyone should be a pedophile.
Yeah,
it's like they're already saying evil shit. You don't have to.
Dude, that
like,
is exactly. That is literally what I've been talking about for the past hour, which is like it's so fucking annoying that they're like, or they even talk about like some of the actual things that they do say about climate change, but like they don't realize that that's just marketing for liberals. That's just like normalizing the existence of the World Economic Forum for a bunch of like professional managerial class people to be like, yeah, we care about climate change. Like no one is gonna force everyone to eat bugs. Okay, when the agricultural industry is so powerful and such a major contributor to anthropogenic climate change, they're not actually gonna fucking turn around and like stop you from eating cows. Okay, don't fucking worry. And now like CBS, AP, they're all like covering the World Economic Forum, but they're talking about it from like the perspective of course, conspiracy theories gaining traction online. And it's like these right-wing fucking idiots or just like most normies, I think, have reasonable and understandable animosity towards the wealthy. They recognize that something is fucked up, but they have no way of like communicating or no way of like genuinely comprehending what's fucked up about it. So they just like hyper focus on like weird marketing points that they talk about with respect to like eating bugs as a substitute for protein, or made up shit like everyone at gunpoint has to be a pedophile.
Yeah.
Someone just sent me a prepper talking about the World Economic Forum, Davos. Get ready for this and their hidden
meeting
plans.
in Davos in a few days, and that's so exciting. Of course it is. Of course, I'm being facetious about the whole thing. There are, of course, many conspiracy theories surrounding this group.
What is the Starfleet Academy? That's what I want to know. Chat, someone look
Is
this
that
up.
Star Trek?
I don't know.
That's like Star Trek shit.
And if we actually
got a
want to
cog.
attach the word elite,
He's got a bunch of
anybody,
cogs.
It's going to
Maybe
be
he's a leftist
members
prepper.
of the
He's
WEF.
a cog and he is a skull.
But why are they so bad? And one may simply attribute their actions to trying to better the world. Are they? Are they truly nefarious? Well, we're going to do a little digging to find out, and stay to the end, because I guarantee you will be shocked at what we found. And first off, you have to understand that when you talk about World Economic Forum, we can't say that word without the words or the name Klaus Schwab. And understand Klaus Schwab, who started the WEF, we can actually let him speak for himself by looking at a few quotes of things he's said. This new era of global reset will lead to a fusion of our physical, digital, and biological identity.
This is like the biggest reception he's ever gotten. Like, he has to kind of be happy about all this, because it's like usually for like the past like 15 years when he's said in any of this shit, like everyone in the audience, their eyes are glazing over. They're waiting for like the Ghislaine organized orgy that's coming after. They're just, it goes right through them. They've heard shit like that for generations. This is the first time in history that people are taking this bullshit, just nothing that Klaus Schwab is saying, and going, oh my God,
it's real.
he's
going to happen.
He's going to do it.
Yeah, no, for sure. For real. We're definitely doing that, guys. It's happening. The Great Reset. And the funniest part about it is that it's happening through vaccinations.
Yeah.
Which are going to kill everyone.
The Great Reset, it's like everything else, where it's like, there's a kernel of truth in it, but it's like it already happened. And it happened like 20 years before you were born. Before any of us were born.
Exactly. Whenever motherfuckers, I was just saying this, whenever motherfuckers talk about like, oh, they're taking our freedoms away, it's like, dude, you have nothing. People are like, oh, I'm so terrified of a Wall-E style future where I'm just like strapped up to a fucking desk and it's like pumping me nutrients as I watch television. It's like, you literally are that. Yeah. You're doing that. You have no control over your life. There's no mechanism of pushback. You have no way of like, gaining a modicum of power in your immediate life where you spend 80% of your adult life in your workplace, and you're just sitting there thinking like, oh man, they're really gonna fuck us over with these vaccines. It's like, they already fucked you over. They're just talking about how to keep the fucking over continuing.
Yeah. You have no ownership in any of this. And the Great Reset, it started. If I'm going to attribute the Great Reset to any one individual starting it, I am going to have to go with Jimmy Carter. Most people say Reagan. Carter really got the ball rolling on all the Great Reset-y things. Credit, deregulation. transportation deregulation, the famous Paul Volcker slaughter, the financialization of the American economy, the increased use of proxies by the American empire, and most importantly for branding, post-presidency, he started one of the world's first let's look busy NGOs. I mean, they do actually build houses. People do live in houses that he helped build, but still, at the same time, if you're a guy like that who annihilated everyone's buy-in to whatever this is, who did such a great reset on everything, what do you do after? You start a non-government organization. You start a charity, and you're like, look how much I care.
After you eviscerate, you start the problem, you accelerate it, and then you make busy work as you try to individualize tackling that problem, which is what NGOs and philanthropies do in general, which is like, bring it back to the individual. There's no collective action to take here. Come on, everything is fine. But like as an individual, you can take matters into your own hands and you'll feel good.